Edward Scissorhands, you're chopped right here. Look at this. You're nothing. You're shredded like a piece of paper. You're fucking pencil shavings all across this, right? Yo, what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Kato Geechee. You know, you know. If you don't know, I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, I used to be the plug. Now I'm a futures prop firm trader. It's me. So yeah, today I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying? First of all, I want to thank everybody that came through and watched the stream this morning. This morning we passed another evaluation. So if you paying attention, we doing a road to $10,000 in prop firm payouts right now. We just passed our second evaluation. We went ahead and bought 6 new accounts. We gonna get y'all a wrap up video for last week. I just like to keep everybody posted. So with that being said, I had a question this morning in the stream, right? So this morning in the stream, actually it was yesterday, I had a question from a guy named Michael in the comments. Shout out to Michael. Thank you for watching. I think you joined the Discord as well. If you guys haven't already, make sure you join that Discord. Use that Apex code. He basically asked me, like, what are these zones that I have drawn on my chart? I was so focused on the charts that I really didn't get a chance to like kind of get into it. I want to bring new traders, you know what I'm saying? Something that I found that changed the way I trade and made me essentially, this was like kind of one of my first things that made me profitable. When you're on TradingView, you got a bunch of indicators and stuff. And I used to do that. If you know me, I come from the CFD Forex world. So I used to have a bunch of indicators on the chart and all this crazy doohickey stuff nobody ever heard of. Pine scripts and all kind of shit like that. But then I start stumbling on tools. What we're gonna talk about today, I don't think is actually an indicator. If you guys want to call it that, we can. I personally believe that 80% of profitable traders use this tool or have used this tool and know how to use this tool. Right. So today we're going to be talking about the volume profile, and I'm going to explain how I use the volume profile, all of the components of the volume profile, and that's how I think the volume profile can take a new trader from being not profitable to becoming profitable. We're gonna jump into motive wave. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna show y'all how to get this chicken. If you don't, y'all know how I am. I like that chicken. We here in motive wave right now. If you don't know already, motive wave is the platform that I use to trade. Like I said, make sure you guys are tapping in with the streams in the mornings. I know a lot of people get confused. They're used to seeing volume. When you mention volume indicators, a lot of people are used to seeing that histogram that pops up at the bottom of the chart, right? One reason I don't use the volume histogram is one is because I trade tick charts and not time charts. And if you ever seen that volume histogram at the bottom, and you're looking at a tick chart, it doesn't correlate correctly. Honestly, I think that this is just better for me. I've never had any success with that volume histogram. That's me personally. Uh, Other than to make confirmations when I used to trade CFDs. But as far as futures go, I have not had much success with that volume histogram. Let's jump into the volume profile. The volume profile is going to be this big thing on the right hand side. Pause. That was crazy. It's going to be this big kind of graph looking thing over here on the right hand side if you're paying attention. What exactly is the volume profile? I just want to explain to new traders because the volume profile can be a little bit overwhelming. What I like to do is I like to plot the volume profile, and I just want to make sure that it's not messing with your eyes. You don't want anything that's going to throw you off, right? So I set mine. I like smooth colors when I'm looking at my chart. So I got this blue and we have the white. So this is just, you know what I'm saying? This is just what it looks like. Don't let it scare you. I promise you it's gonna help you. It's not gonna hurt you. When I was first introduced to the volume profile, what every new trader wants to do is they're looking and they're saying, okay, well, this line this line comes across here. This line has to be the most important line. Otherwise, why would it be stretched across the screen? Now, these yellow lines are not typically there. I plotted those myself. So the line that stretches across the screen, this red line here, this line is going to be called the point of control, right? So this point of control is where majority of the volume is sitting. Now, this is going to be a 20-day volume profile. See, 20-day volume profile. So this is going to be where majority of the volume for within the 20 days has been sitting. And as you can see, there's a lot of trades here, right? The volume bars at the bottom of the screen, they just go up and down. The volume profile is showing you the volume based on price and not based on time or the bars. So that's the main thing that you want to pay attention to, is we're actually looking at where the most volume is as far as price goes, not a time frame. What does that give us? That's going to tell us where a lot of buyers and sellers are. Now, if you are a person that is wary of how the market works and you're a dom trader, that's going to tell you where majority of the volume is, and the volume is going to be where essentially where balance is. Let's identify the next thing. We have these lines here. You have this line here. You have this line here, right? So before we even get into those lines, because I know they kind of stand out as well, we need to get into this blue zone. So this blue zone is going to be what we call the value area, right? Where 68 to 70% of the volume is traded that's in the market. I don't keep mine set at 70. What I like to do, and what I recommend new traders should do, is go ahead and decrease that number a little bit, just until you can actually get a feel for the market. And that's what I like to do. We go ahead and use that 40%. So this, like I said, this is where 40% of the volume is traded. And then that value point of control is going to be here, right? It's always in the value area. The value area is essentially where you're going to get balance. So when you think of balance, what makes the market move is balances and imbalances. When you hear the word balance and you say the market is balanced, what does that mean? That's what we essentially call fair value. That's where the term comes from. The value area is going to be where fair value is. And what is fair value to buyers and sellers? It means get in, right? So you're going to have a bunch of ups and downs at these high volume areas that are inside of the value area. Oh, that's a tongue twister, right? This is going to essentially be what we call the value area high. This yellow line here, this is going to be the value area low down here at the bottom. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, okay, we know what these terms are. Now we're going to get into how you can use this as a tool. What I like to think about is anytime we're near the VPOC, me personally, I'm not entering a trade, because if you're at where majority of the volume is traded, what are you going to get? You're going to get a bunch of buyers and sellers, most likely a bunch of retail traders that just don't know what they're doing. They're just going to buy, sell, and the market's going to chop them up to death. So if you pay attention in this zone here, you'll get shredded to pieces. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen Freddie and them scissor hands, whatever he got. Edward Scissorhands, you're chopped right here. Look at this. You're nothing. You're shredded like a piece of paper. You're fucking pencil shavings all across this, right? So once we get away from that VPOC, you see we start getting a little motion here. We're getting a little motion. Once you start moving this way, it's becoming an imbalance to the downside. So the sellers have officially started taking over. I like to think once we break this here, right? Now, what do we do with this information? I don't want to. It's one thing to know something, but it's another thing to know how to implement a strategy to make sure that you capitalize off the information you know. Otherwise, the information is null and void. What do I like to pay attention to? When you're looking at the volume profile, we know that the further out that these nodes come out, right? They're called nodes. The further out that these nodes come out, the more volume. What I did when I first started, when you first get on the volume profile, you're like, oh yeah, this is where majority of the volume is. Let's mark this, and let's continue to mark all the areas where price comes out. So you start marking around here, you start marking this here, and you think that you're doing something, right? You think that this is the way to go. So I thought that too, and I think this is just what comes to a trader's mind just by looking at things. How I like to use this tool is completely different. So you have these high volume nodes here. What I like to pay attention to is the low volume nodes. I like to pay attention to gaps in the volume. So once I learn how to pay attention to gaps in the volume, I start creating zones that were essentially like this. Right? We have the majority of the volumes here. I like to place a zone here, and we're just going to copy and paste. In the Discord this morning, I said the buyers are essentially going to push the sellers off of the ledge. And there are people in the Discord like, what is he talking about? Probably like, what the fuck? So this is what I mean by buyers or sellers getting pushed off the edge. When I'm thinking about these, I'm thinking of the edges. I don't need to mark this is because the volume is there. This is where the consolidation is, right? And what we're going to do is we're actually going to replay. And the reason we're going to replay is because I want to show you the accuracy of these zones and whether or not they can actually work. Let's pick a day, guys. Let's see how far back do we want to go. What's today? Today is the 19th. Let's just go back to Thursday, which was the 14th. And we're just going to press the power button here. And the volume profile is going to change. Completely new volume profile. Nothing miraculous. Don't even pay attention to price. I don't need price in order to see this. This is the thing, guys. And this is what I like to tell people. If you're really doing this part right, you don't need price. I should be able to draw my zones without price. But that sounds crazy, right? But how can I draw my zones without price? I'm looking for low volume nodes. My low volume nodes are going to be marked with little red lines here, but just filling in gaps, right? I'm going to put this here because there's a ledge. Now, this is not the volume point of control yet, and it's actually outside of the value area. So let's draw that there. We got another ledge here, and this is what I like to do. And we're just going to do this here, and then we're going to show you guys how this works, how accurate this is, right? So we got that ledge there. Let's continue to get these zones knocked out, y'all. So I'm marking these on a higher time frame to see where the big supply and demand zones are, because essentially that's what you're looking for. And this is the perfect way to draw supply and demand. You're not just looking at price, drawing, oh, this is where it rejected and this is where we're gonna. No. This is gonna give you the actual numbers. This is gonna give you the data. This is gonna tell you where the buyers and the sellers fell off, where the fight was over, where the balance is, and all kinds of information like that. So this is what you want to pay attention to. These are the zones, and for those of you guys who are in the stream Monday through Friday, we're streaming on YouTube live. Don't miss it. You know what I'm saying? For those of you guys who watch the stream and you guys ask me, what are the purple lines? This is what the purple lines are. This is how I get the purple lines or the purple zones, whatever you guys want to call them. So I just basically just filled in these gaps here. Now, this is fair value. So we know inside of here, we're expecting some type of consolidation. We're not inside of fair value at all yet. So one, a lot of people use the VPOC as a magnet. A lot of people like to trade into fair value, especially when you're trying to get to that VPOC. Price essentially loves to make it to the VPOC. It loves to make it to old VPOCs. It loves to make it to previous VPOCs or just previous zones in general, but specifically VPOCs, which is going to be that volume point of control. Don't get confused about my terminology. And we're going to let this go, and we're going to see where this possibly goes. Bouncing off of this zone here at the bottom. If you're in a zone like this and you see that this is bouncing off of this and we got a high volume node here, essentially what we're doing is consolidating. So what are you looking for? We're just looking to take bounces. We're looking for the back and forth action. And we know that this is essentially a small little zone here. So if you wanted to, you can mark this on a lower time frame. And that's what I do, because I don't like having these bigger zones that close to each other. So what I'll do is I'll drop down and mark this zone here, which is essentially going to be kind of like the mid of this. And I'll kind of make sure I pay attention to that. We're getting some rejection off of this box. And this is what I love all day. This is what I'm doing. Just looking at these zones and just seeing how we react to zones. Now, do you just blindly trade the zones? Absolutely not. That's not what you do. What I started to do is once you get to these zones, not only do you drop down to a lower time frame, because I'm on a higher time frame, you also go straight, immediately go to your DOM. Go to the order flow. So if you're using Bookmap, me personally, Motive Wave has its own heat map built into it. Boom, as you guys can see. If you don't have that, then it's best to just look at the DOM. So you can always just bring up the DOM, look at the DOM here and see what orders are doing what. But what you want to see, since we're in between these zones, is who's running the market. You want to see if the buyers or sellers are going to make a push. Whether it breaks or whether it pulls back, this is going to be the place where it does it. For instance, if we're here right now, and you see we're pushing down a little bit. If we push too far down, essentially what I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking to go to another zone. That's if we can make it there. Now, we do have something here, you see, and the only reason why I know this zone is here is because I'm looking at the low volume nodes here. So this is another one that I will mark on my lower time frame. What I would do is lower time frame zones would be a different color. We're getting this pushed down, right? So we're essentially going. If we can make it to the other zone, that would be nice. But by this time, this is a lot of money here. This is a lot of ticks. But look at what it did. This is kind of my point here, and this is what I want people to pay attention to. When it started to break down, it's going down, it goes up, comes back down. But this is what you want to pay attention to, is it comes out of that zone, but you get the retest. You get the perfect retest and it continues to go down. Now, mind you, this is an 8,000 tick chart. So if you really want to pay, if you really want to take this into consideration, this is a lot of money. 2 candlesticks, you're good for today. This is essentially how I'm looking at the market. The volume profile just flipped. So now this is where majority of the volume in the market is traded. We're still in fair value, right? But the sellers are obviously in control. What happens a lot is price will bounce off of the value area high and the value area low. So a lot of traders like to go ahead and take that trade. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and exit this real quick. Let's see if those zones lined up, and this is what you want to pay attention to. Those zones lined up. We get the touch here, comes down, touches there, pushes up, comes back down, touches this. This is going to be a whole nother area, right? But this is what I meant. This value area is going to be the value area low here in this scenario. This is the value area low, this yellow line, right? What does price do? Price comes up, crosses it, comes back down, retests it, shoots down. This is what a lot of people are taking their trades based off of. This is today's market. We're pushing up. Longs are looking good. Today, we passed that evaluation. Price is trying to recover and make it back to this VPOC, essentially. And that's what I personally think is going to happen. It might take its time, but it's going to get there. It's not going to be as fast as that Friday drop-off that we had, but we'll definitely get there. But yeah, guys, if you paid attention today, if you got some value out of this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you tap into the streams Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Join the Discord if you want information, news about the markets. If you guys have any, just want to learn, we do one-on-ones, free one-on-ones. We're going to eventually start doing some interviews of different traders, different YouTubers. So yeah, that's what we have to come. I do have a wrap-up video for the road to $10,000 in profit and payouts. So if you've been waiting on that, I got you. I didn't really do one last week because it wasn't much of a change. My week was pretty much break even. I think I was at like $30-some for the week on those specific accounts. So with that being said, hey, listen, I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope you guys learned something today. This is the volume profile. This is the first step getting into order flow. So if you are a technical trader and you haven't already, you need to learn order flow. This is the first step of how you can get in there. So like I said, thank you for watching. Y'all have a good day. If you don't do nothing else, man, stay dangerous.